Hey, what's up guys? Today I wanted to discuss the different types of boxing gloves and which one may be the best for you. So stay tuned.
Uber up the styles like miles and shit. Like 60s funky worms with waves and perms. Just sending junky rhythms right down your block. We beat to rap, what key beat to lock.
Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here, and today I want to discuss the different types of boxing gloves that are available. Now, if you've been a subscriber to my channel, you may have seen all of the videos I've done of reviews in the past of boxing gear and gloves. And I've pretty much tried every single kind of glove you can try out there, whether it's a sparring glove, a bag glove, a training glove, a hybrid glove, bag mitts, or even a pro fight glove. So there's obviously different kinds of gloves, and they're designed to do different things. Some of them are multi-purpose, some of them are intended just to use for sparring, some are better for bag work. So I really wanted to identify and separate what kind of gloves there are. And if you do have a question about these gloves and which one you should get, hopefully this will help break that down so you can better understand what you're purchasing in the future or what you currently have. So there's 4 different types of gloves that usually fall into that category. There's going to be the sparring glove, there's going to be your bag gloves, they're going to be your training gloves. Training gloves are typically a hybrid between a bag glove and a sparring glove. And then you also have your pro fight glove. So those are typically the 4 styles of gloves that your gloves will usually fall into category-wise. And they all have kind of their own different purpose. Now, with that being said, I know a lot of times people will get a boxing glove from their local department store, or they might buy it online on Title Boxing or Ringside, and they end up using the glove for pretty much everything they do in the gym, which is perfectly fine. This video is more or less just kind of break down the features of each type of glove and what they're kind of intended to do from the manufacturer. So the first glove is going to be the sparring glove. I have a couple of gloves here to share with you guys today. And this is going to be actually my top boxer custom sparring gloves here. And the main thing with sparring gloves is going to be the padding around the knuckle area. Typically with a sparring glove, you're usually only going to stick with something larger in weight, usually anywhere between 14 to 16 ounces. 16 ounces is kind of the recommended weight. And the whole point of sparring gloves is that you have a little bit more cushioning, especially around the knuckle area, with the padding about medium density, to where it's a little bit more forgiving on your sparring partner as far as protecting them and protecting yourself as well. So the whole point behind that is so you don't incur so much damage during your sparring sessions, and that's the whole purpose of the sparring gloves, is to be definitely more protective around the knuckle area and has more padding to protect you and your sparring partner. The other thing about sparring gloves is typically, in most cases, in a classical sense, that sparring gloves should always be a lace-up style glove, meaning that you just have laces rather than a Velcro closure or any other kind of wrist lock system. And the whole point of this, again, is that you can really get, and that's kind of still true to this date, that laces are pretty much the way to go when it comes to wrist support. You get the most support out of laces because you get more of a locked-in feel compared to a Velcro glove. And the other thing is that this won't have any issues with cutting, scraping, or doing anything to your opponent because it's all laced up. Typically this gets laced up, and then a lot of times if it's a really heavy sparring session, they'll tape it around, that way the laces don't come undone. So those are really the main features of a sparring glove. Could you use it for bag work? Sure, you could. You can use it for mitt work. You could use it for all intention gym purposes, but the whole purpose behind it is to give yourself protection around your wrist and not have any features on the glove that may cut your opponent open. No crazy plastic patches, no crazy designs on top of the gloves or the knuckle area that may cause damage to your partner by cutting them open. So again, laces, wrist support, and protective padding for both you and your sparring partner with sparring gloves. The next glove is going to be your bag glove. Now I have 2 kinds of bag gloves here. I have these Title AR Tech bag gloves. I also have these Rival RB50 bag mitts. I'll go over these here in a second. Now bag gloves, the intention of bag gloves is exactly what it's called, is to use for bag work, heavy bag. You can use them for mitts. But a lot of times the premise behind bag gloves is maximum protection. Now you can see with this AR Tech glove, it's a little bit shorter and stockier, but you can see that the padding on here is a multi-layer foam, but it's very dense. And the purpose of this is that you're able to use maximum power when you're doing your bag work. So if you are a power puncher, or you want to really work on your power that day, you don't want to have to be afraid of pulling your punches because you might have an injury. The bag glove is there to kind of supplement that. And you have a lot more shock absorbing foam, especially around the knuckle area. The wrist support is a big factor of the bag glove as well, because you want to be able to have good wrist support and protect your hands from any kind of shock and extended periods of use. So a lot of times bag gloves will use a Velcro system because you want to take them on and off. That's the big advantage over sparring gloves with the Velcro style bag gloves is the convenience of use. You don't have to worry about something lacing them up for you like you would with a sparring glove with lace ups. Although if you do have lace and loops, that makes it easier. It's still not the same as having somebody lace them for you, but it's a good alternative. But with bag gloves, typically you'll get it in this Velcro strap. And a lot of times, bag gloves come with unique locking, wrist lock systems where you have like a metal buckle or a plastic D-ring. Rival incorporates a V-strap system with the plastic clips. And that is right there to give you maximum wrist support. So the whole premise of that is even though you don't have lace-ups here to really give you that support, you have a good alternative kind of ratcheting system to where you can get the maximum wrist support, and they incorporate that. So obviously with the bag glove, you shouldn't be using this for sparring because you could definitely do some damage to your partner with like the little metal clips, the plastic clips on here, as well as the padding being way too dense. So when you land shots, you can really bust your opponent's face up because of how dense this padding is. Now the other kind of bag glove would be the bag mitt. Now this is more old school. Back in the 40s and 50s, you would see fighters, Rocky Marciano, Dempsey, Sugar Ray Robinson, Archie Moore. A lot of these old school boxers would use these bag mitts, and the whole premise of this is really to make sure you have proper form, that you're landing on those two front knuckles right here, as well as to strengthen your hand and your wrist. So it gives you a lot more strength. It's kind of like that same concept of strengthening your abs or callousing up your shins for Muay Thai. In that sense, with a bag mitt, you're really focusing on form and really strengthening your hands. So you can see here, it's a much more compact glove. This RB50 comes with a detached thumb. So what you'll be able to do with this glove when you put it on is you're basically getting the most natural feeling fist. You can really form a fist and make good contact with the bag. This particular bag mitt has the D3O technology, which gives a little bit more shock protection, but the feedback and the power transfer in this bag mitt is really good. You can really feel every shot, your punch placement with this. You can see how small this glove is. You definitely would not use this for sparring. It's way too small. And again, this is going to be great for pad or bag pad mitt work would be great for that, especially if you really want to feel that feedback and get that good power transmission and really strengthen your hands and your wrists. So these would be your bag mitts. A lot of people love using that. Third is going to be your training gloves. Now, training gloves are going to be gloves that are kind of a hybrid. They're your jack of all trades. They're your bang for the buck. They're the gloves that you can pretty much use for everything in the gym. A lot of times they either come in lace up or Velcro, so you have two options of the closure style you want to use. And in this case, I have these Punch Equipment Fuerte Ultra gloves. And these right here are supposed to be kind of a clone of a winning glove. But the great thing about this particular glove, it does come in the Velcro closure. The padding is right in the middle, so it's not too dense, it's not too soft, but it's protective enough on the heavy bag to do mitt work, but you can also use it for sparring because it's not too stiff and it's not going to do a lot of damage. Another big thing with this as well is you don't have any crazy buckle secure systems. You don't have any plastic or metal rings on here. So if you were to use this for sparring, you can still use it and not have to worry about cutting your opponent open. And again, the ergonomics of it, you do have a good amount of wrist support here as well. And the main thing is going to be the padding. So this right here is a really good all-around gym glove. If you were to pick, if you didn't want to have two separate gloves, one for bag work or one for sparring, and you just wanted one pair of gloves, and then these would be a great glove for that because you can get them in 16 ounces or you can get them in 12 ounces. So you can go something a little bit more compact to work on speed, or you can go with a 16-ounce training glove, which you can use for speed, mitt work, bag work, and sparring. So it's a really good all-around glove if you wanted to go with training glove. The flip side to this again is whether or not you want to go with a Velcro or a lace-up closure. That's completely up to you. Just depends on whether or not you're able to lace up your own gloves or you have somebody do it for you. And then the last glove is going to be your pro fight gloves. Now, for all intents and purposes, pro fight gloves are designed to be used in a pro fight. And you can see these are a lot more compact. Depending on what weight class you're at, you're either going to have an 8 or a 10-ounce glove. Sometimes manufacturers make like an XL version of an 8 or 10 ounce, meaning that if you have a little bit larger hands, the weight stays the same, but they just kind of change the way the hand compartment feels for people with longer fingers or larger hands. But the pro fight gloves, again, are 8 to 10 ounces. They're a lot more compact. The actual wrist support, typically of what I've seen with gloves, they have a little bit of support, but the whole premise of it is you're going to have the majority of the padding in the knuckle area for protection. They do have puncher style gloves, like the Mexican style gloves, where uses like some horsehair and has less foam or latex foam inside there, which is a lot more for power transmission. Cleto Reyes is really infamous for that. Then you have Grant Profile gloves that are a little bit more cushioned, that have a little bit more orthopedic foam in there, and it's for guys like Mayweather, who have had hand injuries and they just need protection during a fight because they have sustained hand injuries over a period of time. But again, Profile gloves are a lot smaller, and then again, you also cannot use this for a sanctioning bout. You usually have a tag on the inside that shows every time the athletic commission you use these gloves, they'll tag it off and initial it off to basically say how many times the gloves have been used in a professional bout, and after that, after a certain amount of times, the gloves are no longer be able to use for a professional bout. And that's typically where you see the fighter will give the gloves away as a gift, or autograph them and give them away, or just keep them for his own collection. You do see a lot of boxers, both pro amateur level, even the weekend warriors, that use pro fight gloves for training because they like the way the feedback is. So these gloves are also great for doing mitt work, for doing some limited bag work. And the reason I say that is because of the foam on the inside is really not meant for long training periods of time. You shouldn't be using this primarily just as a bag glove, because eventually you're going to break this foam down and you're just not going to get the level of protection that you want. But a lot of times you will see guys use this for a limited amount of bag work, but mostly for mitt work. A lot of times you see guys use like the winning pro fight gloves, like Pacquiao will use that for doing mitt work, because one, they're using it for speed and for precision, and then two, a lot of times they'll use the gloves that they're going to use during the fight, during training, so that their hands are used to the way the glove feels. So when they get to the fight and they're using those particular gloves, their hands are already used to it. They know how it feels, and there's really no getting to know stage with that particular glove. And the other big thing about pro fight gloves from a weight standpoint is that they have to be on point with weight. So if it's a 10-ounce glove, it has to be right on 10 ounces. Whereas training gloves, bag gloves, typically it's not held to that same exact standard. I know some companies really like to stay true to weight, but a lot of times you'll see gloves like Reyes or some of the the Mexican style gloves, which have been really infamous for being way overweight, like 2 to 3 ounces overweight. Where pro fight gloves, 8 to 10 ounces, it has to be exactly on point. Otherwise, the gloves won't be approved for the fight. So those are the big differences between the 4 types of gloves. Obviously you guys probably have some gloves already that fall into that category. I just really wanted to kind of break it down, that way you guys could understand what you guys may have or what you guys are purchasing in the future and what it is intended to be used for. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.